Keep it real about how I feel. I know this love ain't real, but I want you still. Working out and never will. Let's just keep it real.
Yo, what it is. This is Will Williams. Welcome to another episode of Keep It Real, the podcast with Will Williams. I'm Will Williams. But once again, hope y'all been liking the season so far, man. You know what I'm saying? Moving right along, man. You know, a little halfway past the year, whatever, something like that. But hope it's been ministering to y'all's spirit. Always been helpful and everything. You know what I'm saying? So as usual, we got the notes, but we got a clipboard this time, so y'all can y'all that, reference stuff with the paper. So this episode is called Trusting the Dry Seasons When God is Silent. What to do when your career feels stalled, staying inspired when the algorithm isn't in your favor. I guess this is fitting because, July is like, the dry seasons or drought, whatever. So what's the dry seasons? When you're not getting anything that you used to get. So let's just say, like if some of y'all work temp service before, like the temp services, it's like, or like a contract job or something, you work during the summertime, but in the wintertime, work slow down. So that's like the dry seasons, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's in the wintertime, when you're not receiving payment, when you not seeing any results, I guess, you know what I'm saying? When it's like everything going good and then it just stops and then, you get discouraged or whatever the case may be. So the other part of that, trusting the dry seasons when God is silent. A lot of times, I know, like from my personal experience, I pray for something and it's like, man, does God hear me? Then you start getting frustrated with God. Then you start thinking, man, did I do this right? Did I do that right? You start trying to figure out if it's something you did wrong. But a lot of times, if you ain't got the faith to know that God got you, because, in the Bible, paraphrasing again, but in the Bible it says God will supply all your needs, right? He didn't say he's going to supply all your wants. You may want a new car, but you just take care of what you got, you know what I'm saying? Or you may want a new house or a new job, or sometimes you want a new spouse, you know what I'm saying? But it don't work like that, And a lot of times, if you keep asking God for something and knowing God, he going to give you what you want just to prove, look, I told you ain't need it, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like God is never silent. I think it's a whole lot of, saying, okay, you say you love me, you say you trust me, but we're going to see how much you trust me when you got, bills due in 2 weeks and you ain't got no money in your account. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see how much you trust me, or you going to sit here and start trying to do it on your own. When you gave it to me and I said, I got you in the word, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think a lot of things means when God is silent. So for me personally, trusting the dry seasons, I would upload a mixtape, and, our mixtape usually between, 12, maybe 14, 15. It depends how many songs on there, but something like that. And, I dropped a song one time with Adele in it, and it went crazy. Like I uploaded it. Well, when it dropped, I had checked it and it was like 200 views, then 400, then 600, then 800, then 1,000, then 1,700, 1,800. I'm like, man, 1,900, 2,000. I'm like, man, it's crazy. It's going crazy. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. People really liking the music and everything. Other songs, maybe 50, 60, 70 views here, there, and this and that. But then, I may upload a podcast or a short or advertisement or something, and, I'm getting no views. You know what I'm saying? Or very little compared to, everything else. So it's like, man, what am I supposed to do? But then, like I said before, other episodes, last season, whatever, God gives us all gifts, but we got to use those gifts to glorify God. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we use those gifts to glorify humans, then we're going to let the world dictate our happiness. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I've been working on this or working on that or doing this. oh, I want an award for this, or I'm being recognized on the radio or my local area, this and that. And then if I put my heart into it and now they don't like what I did or they turn against me, and then, then it's like, man, I'm discouraged and your mood changed and everything. But, if you do it for God, you ain't got to worry about that. So let's keep moving on. What to do when your career feels stalled, right? So this is not just music. This is everything. You feel me? So if you doing something and you're doing the best of your ability and you feel like you get nowhere, like I've been doing music since I was, I think I've been recording since I was 13, been writing since I was 7 or 8. It's crazy, that's a long time. But I had goals for myself, but I was comparing myself to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like this person, so this person's success is they got awards and they got mixtapes out and they got albums in stores and they got, documentaries and this and that. And now I have all those things, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of things I have to do by myself, but it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Through all that, it taught me to trust God more. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it feel like, man, I should just give up. Like there's a lot of people I know that should have been in the NFL, NBA, Major League Soccer, track and field athlete, lawyers, rappers, singers, and they never make it because they give up based upon circumstances or, like, it's crazy. I heard a couple people on podcasts say, like, why is hip hop or rap the only genre where it's like an age limit? You know what I'm saying? When you get, like nowadays, if you like over 27, 28, trying to rap, trying to be a career, you corny. You 30, 40, 50, you corny. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I get it if you're trying to rap about killing and all the stuff that the youth talking about and everything, then, I get what they're saying. You kind of is corny then, but, like, if you just spin your message right, like, a lot of people never heard of Rhapsody. Shout out to Rhapsody. What up? That's a bad example because she ain't old. Like, anyway, forget I even said that. I think that's a bad example. But a lot of, people been out for years and they ain't really known to a lot of other people, but a small group of people. So they make it seem like, oh, you ain't been doing nothing. So basically, instead of, I'm starting to ramble on again, they had really nothing to do with, what we was talking about. But basically, you just got to keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? When you do things for God, it's cool. You feel me? So, like, y'all getting exclusive information when I say this. Working on an album right now. It's going to drop sometime next year. Long time in the making. I've been done with the album twice. Production was done. Lyrics was done. The backup, but I had everything backed up and ended up breaking. So then I was like, man, I got to start over again, listen to it, write it again. Some of the same beats, but kind of change it up. Didn't really like it. So now I'm starting over again. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a long time coming. I think the last time I released the album was like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. But I've been releasing mixtapes or EPs or singles and this and that. But, you just got to stay focused. I want to do this album that I got. I want to do this to glorify God. I felt like the other albums before, I was trying to prove to people my talent. Like, yo, I can rap. Yeah, I can sing. Yeah, I'm a good producer. I can do this, do that. Now it's just like, we just going to do this for God. You know what I'm saying? So, exclusive information. I'm not saying it again. You heard it. So the last part of this is staying inspired when the algorithm isn't in your favor. So I'm going to say this. A lot of people's like, what's the algorithm? There is no algorithm. I hate when people say that, and hate is a strong word, but I hate when people say that, oh, the algorithm, this and that, and, if you put these hashtags in, or if you say this or do this, or put these keywords in your title, people will pick you up. Like all that, a lot of stuff is clickbait, you know. So algorithm is like some on certain websites, whether that's YouTube, a lot of social media sites, a lot of streaming sites, music sites. They think if you listen, so basically it's like if you listen to like on Apple Music, my music on Apple Music too, there's a section on there where it says who do you sound like or similar artists, right? So if I was to pick, you know, I don't know, I'm just saying random artists: Logic, J. Cole, Dizzy Wright, Rhapsody, Nicki Minaj, Lecrae, right? When people listen to those artists, and let's say it's a radio station or you know, streaming their songs, whatever, then my music will pop up. It's be like, hey, this is a similar artist or something like that. That's kind of like an algorithm in a way. So a lot of people think based upon, you know, always remember this, anything that's electronic with computers can be manipulated and changed, you know what I'm saying, based upon, you know, a lot of these streaming sites or even social media sites, video sharing sites, they're owned or got deals with a lot of these major companies, corporations, whether that's record labels or anything, you know what I'm saying? So it's in their favor to make money. So you can change and say, hey, we can have this person's music out there, but we can have it live to them, but we can block it to everybody else, right? And then we can push another artist because this is who we want to put up there. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what the Drake lawsuit is about. Just saying, I'm trying to get into that, but this is kind of what the Drake lawsuit is about. He ain't necessarily suing Kendrick Lamar. He was suing the record label because his contract was up and he wanted more money, and he can't get more money if it's looked out into the world that, hey, your music is dropping and you're not as popular anymore because you lost this rap battle to Kendrick Lamar when all that was staged anyway to get the more money because they was losing money. But, you know what I'm saying, do your research about that. And basically, you know, Drake basically saying, yo, y'all pushing Kendrick Lamar so hard with these bots and these fake streams and everything to make me look bad. And if that makes me look bad, then I ain't got no leverage to say, hey, I want this much. You telling me, no, you worth this much based upon, you know what I'm saying? So the algorithm can change. So the whole thing comes back to it, man. Like, just stay focused on God. You know what I'm saying? Keep him first and everything be cool, man. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. You know, I'm kind of liking this format, you know what I'm saying? Because before, you know, like I was just rambling on and, you know, I think like I had one in March, April, and then it wouldn't be no more episodes like September, which was kind of crazy. You know, so I'm doing one every month now, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I thank y'all for tuning in. And as always, you know, hit me up on social media if you need anything. Getting a lot of requests for like another Q&A session that I did last season. There's a lot of, well, not a lot of questions, a few questions from last year that I never answered, a couple from this year or whatever. A lot of them on Twitter, Instagram, and everything. I think a few on Facebook, email, whatever. But, you know, I might do that. I don't know. I'm not going to say next episode, but I'm going to try to do it for this year is out. You know, the season is out, man. But thank y'all for tuning in. So this month, the sponsor, so this is kind of like not really a, you know, sponsor, but anyway, so the sponsor that I want is Disciples Music Group. That's the label that I'm signed to. Been out since 2010. Do great things. Trying to work on a foundation, like a not-for-profit organization and everything, but I'm going to leave that description all. I'm going to leave all of that in the description. You know what I'm saying? You can check it out. Actually, the podcast is uploaded on Disciples Music Group official YouTube channel, so You know what I'm saying? Check out the rest of my music, any other things they got on there, man. But, this is Will Williams. God bless y'all, man. Thank y'all for everything. Stay safe, stay prayed up, man. This is Will Williams, and we just keeping it real.
Can I keep it real about how I feel? I know this love ain't real, but I want you still.